In this lecture, we will talk about tropisms in plants. Tropisms are a growth response by a plant. And that's kind of the key idea here. It's the idea that they are going to grow in response to a stimulus. So they will sense something and they will grow either towards or away from this stimulus. And the stimulus is something that causes a response. So something will cause a response. The growth response will be a tropism. And plants need to be able to grow and respond to their environmental conditions. For example, the root of a plant must grow down towards water and nutrients and to form the structural support that the plant needs. We're going to briefly talk about 3 types of tropism today. Phototropism, which is a growth response to light. We are going to talk about a geotropism, which is a growth response to gravity. And we're going to talk about thigmotropism. Thigmotropism is a growth response to touch. And one last thing to mention before we look at these in a little bit more detail is that tropisms can either be a positive tropism or a negative tropism. So positive means the growth is towards the stimulus, and negative means that growth is away from the stimulus. So, growth response by a plant to different stimuli. So, phototropism, remember from our previous work, photo means light. So, we've got a growth response to light. And quite often, plant biologists will study this using unidirectional light. So, they've got light, as my sun, but it'll be a lamp, in one direction, and what will happen is that the shoots here will grow towards the light. So when they grow towards the light, we would class that as a positive phototropism. And the roots that you can't see in the plant here, the roots will grow away from the light. So roots away from light. And so the roots would be a negative phototropism. So it's a growth response to light. Now this growth response is due to a hormone called auxin, which was first described by Charles Darwin, and we'll talk a little bit more about auxin, which is a hormone in plants, in our plant hormone mini lecture. So watch out for that soon. So geotropism describes the growth response. So it's a growth response to gravity. So it's first a growth response to gravity, first described by Darwin. So Darwin, when he got back off his lovely voyage around the Galapagos in the Beagle, came back and did a lot of work on plant biology, worms, and barnacles. So he had a wide range of hobbies when he came back from his little trip. And what we have with geotropism is, again, we've got this positive and negative examples. So the roots, when they grow down towards gravity, this is a positive geotropism. And the shoots, when they grow away from gravity, that is classed as a negative geotropism. So in the same plant, you have these two examples. It's quite hard to study zero gravity in plants. So one way plant biologists do this is if they keep a plant spinning, so the plant doesn't know which way is up, which way is down, where gravity is. They can study geotropism in this way. Also, a lot of the astronauts on the International Space Station also have a real interest in plant biology because they want to be able to grow their own food. So they can grow nice fresh tomatoes, for example, fertilized with essential nutrients from their own urine, and then they can eat the delicious tomatoes after they've grown them. And these plants will be grown in zero gravity. So geotropism is a hot area to study if you're a space scientist as well. I mean, you can do this yourself as well, not in space, but in this picture here, if you put a plant pot on its side, then you will see the plant will bend and will start to grow away from gravity. So you've got this negative geotropism in the shoot part of the plant. So that's a geotropism. The last tropism we're going to talk about now is a thigmotropism. So thigmotropism is a growth response to touch. And they're used by plants when plants are attaching to a wall, for example, or around an object. So this plant here is growing up. So this is the plant. This is a support for the plant. And the plant will grow, will feel the support and grow around the structural support. So it's a thigmotropism. You will see plants like this one here. This is a Venus flytrap, and you're probably aware that what happens with the Venus flytrap is little fly lands inside. That's a fly, and then the Venus flytrap closes and will digest the fly and use it as a really good source of nitrates, actually, because where Venus flytraps grow, the soil is low nitrates. So this is how the plant get their nitrates. This is not thigmotropism. Okay, so I'm going to put a big cross through it. It's not thigmotropism because it's not a growth response. Yes, the plant is sensing and responding to a stimulus, but it's not a growth response. So watch out for that when you're looking at various tropisms as well. In our next session, we will talk about plant hormones. Thank you.